Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Happiest Hour on Earth. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm your other host, Emily.
And tonight we're doing something a little bit different because we lost a true Disney legend a couple days ago on May 25th. Richard Sherman, truly sad to hear this news, but his music will live on forever, and he's always been a part of past generations' childhoods, and he will continue to be a part of future generations' childhoods. And so tonight, we are not really going to be doing a history of Richard Sherman. We're just going to be celebrating his accomplishments, talking about the music that meant so much to us.
There's so many.
So much, not only from the movies, but also the Disney parks. And, you know, his songs, like I said, did not only resonate with us, but also to just so many different generations and also so many different cultures. Mm-hmm. We posted a reel on our Instagram just in remembrance of him. And we heard from so many different people across the world. You know, it's a small world after all. Mm-hmm. And so many different languages just paying their respects to this wonderful legend. It's just so cool to see how many lives that he touched, not only in America, but just all around the globe. And
I didn't even think about the correlation with it's a small world, but that's such a cool correlation with how many people from all over the world.
Yeah. Oh,
loved him. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. We cannot wait to jump into this episode and talk about this amazing man. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. So as we said, we're going to be touching a little bit on the history of Richard Sherman's life. But if you want to know more about Richard Sherman and the Sherman Brothers, we highly suggest that you check out the documentary, The Boys, on Disney+. It is so amazing, so heart-wrenching. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, tough topics with him and his brother and everything. But it's just so cool to see how he got into music. And one thing that we picked up on and we just had a talk in the podcast was Richard Sherman talking about when he knew he needed to write music. Yeah. And he was saying that one day he was just walking down the streets. He always wanted to be involved in entertainment, but one day he was walking down the street and he started hearing music. He's like, where's this music coming from? And he was like, it's in my head. This is so beautiful. I need to write it down. So he rushed home, sat at the piano, and played it out. And then when he talked to his father, his dad.
I think his dad was there and heard it and was like, where did you hear that?
Yeah.
And he was like, it was in my head. And then his dad told him, your major in college is going to be music. Yeah. Because at the time, Richard was trying to decide what he was going to do in college. And so his dad was like, this is your answer.
Yeah.
It was a group effort for sure. I mean, his brother was a huge part of it as well. I think his brother Robert did most of the lyrics and then he did most of the music. Yeah. So, I mean, they really together combined wrote some masterpieces.
Yeah. And I think they actually got started because of a challenge from their father. I think their dad said, spend some time, write a song that people would actually, I think he said someone would actually give their lunch money to actually buy that song. And so that was their challenge and they did so. And, they got to the radio stations and gave their songs and all this stuff. And then they realized that they worked so well together. Robert making writing the lyrics and Richard doing the music. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they clashed a lot.
Yeah.
Their
business wise, they did really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like musically, they created masterpieces, but as people, they definitely didn't get along very well, which is really sad. But they did create some beautiful, beautiful songs.
Oh, totally. Their careers. And one thing that I think is so cool about Richard Sherman's music is that it really embodies the Disney magic, especially as you listen to certain songs. Our favorite of his is Mary Poppins, but just how it starts off with the strings and it sets the tone for the entire, the overture sets the tone for the entire movie. And through that overture, that's a few minutes long, it takes you through the most moving parts of the songs in the movie, but then it brings you to the funny parts and he just he paints a story with his music and it's just so cool. You can't listen to their music and not either tear up or have a smile on your face. Like they do so good at that range.
It's like a tangible feeling when you hear their songs.
Oh, for sure. It puts you in the scene. Yeah,
totally.
even if you're not watching it, like I just put on the overture from Mary Poppins, even like Winnie the Pooh, even some of the park attraction songs, you know, you put them on and he always sets that scene at the beginning. And it's just so cool. But do you want to give us just some of his notable works?
Yeah.
One that I didn't actually have on here. I think his first movie that they did for Disney was The Parent Trap in 1961. So yeah, that one obviously, so cool. You know, their first ones working with Disney. Definitely notable, but then we have a lot of our favorites here.
Yeah, so some of the notable works that they did were Mary Poppins, Winnie the Pooh, Jungle Book, The Aristocats, Sword in the Stone, It's a Small World, getting into the rides, Enchanted Tiki Room, Carousel of Progress, Journey into Imagination, and then
non-Disney stuff.
Some non-Disney. There was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And just
so much more.
So many more.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot. They did a lot of Disney live action that we didn't actually grow up on. A lot of Disney live action, like The Happiest Millionaire, like I said, The Parent Trap.
Yeah,
and a lot of others.
Time frame. They did a lot of those. But yeah, they really.
Now we need to watch those. Yeah,
I know. I would love to go back and watch some of those. I've always wanted to see The Happiest Millionaire. I don't know why, but
Fortuosity, right? Is that the song?
Yeah, so good. So their songs just. Man, they really are cemented in Disney history. That like we've talked about before, I feel like Disney movies, especially, I guess there's like chunks of time where you can really just pinpoint who the composers were for those songs and those movies. And, you know, there's a good chunk of time in Disney history where you're like, that is the Sherman Brothers for sure, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I just think that's so cool. They just really had such a sound.
Yeah.
They were just so good at what they did.
Oh, yeah. And
it's
I think
incredible.
One of our favorites, and we've always loved Mary Poppins, but, you know, you should check out The Boys, their documentary. But one of our favorite movies is Saving Mr. Banks. And you actually see BJ Novak as Robert Sherman, and then you get Jason Schwartzman as Richard Sherman. And we love that movie because you really see the dynamics between the brothers and Walt and P.L. Travers. Yeah. And there's some really cool scenes there where you just get to see that story and how they created the music. They focus a lot on the music because I don't think P.L. Travers actually wanted it to be a musical. However, can we just say, if Mary Poppins didn't have the Sherman Brothers music, it would have not been as great as it was.
How
and then
different
shout
that
out
movie
to
would be.
Obviously Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, but
course.
the music is such a huge part of it. And I think that was one of their biggest accomplishments. Also some park ride ones, which I think is even, up to that same level. But the first song that we wanted to talk about was Feed the Birds. And this song, I think, is some of their best work. Oh, yeah. This was actually Walt Disney's favorite song. And you see this in the movie, Saving Mr. Banks, where Richard's just playing at the piano and Walt Disney comes in and he's just listening and appreciating it. And in real life, this was his favorite song. And apparently on Friday afternoons, Walt would call both Richard and Robert in there and just say, play it. And they knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted to hear Feed the Birds. And so he just loved that song so much. And if you listen to it, you could almost hear Walt and the Sherman Brothers' heart in those lyrics. Richard talked about how the song is really about, it doesn't take a lot to show kindness and to speak into somebody's life. And you could really see that with that song. But another really cool thing about this song is that in Once Upon a Studio, you've probably seen it, the amazing Disney short that came out for the 100th anniversary. There's a scene where Mickey is looking at Walt Disney's portrait in the Disney studios, and you hear Feed the Birds play. And they recorded Richard Sherman playing it on the piano that he used to play for Walt Disney when he was writing these songs. And they recorded it in Walt Disney's office. And so it was just, and they actually recorded it on a Friday afternoon for that reason. So that piano that you play is Richard Sherman in his 90s in Walt's office on the same piano that he used to play at in front of Walt. So that's really, really cool. And then we just wanted to point out some of our favorite lyrics from this, but we love the part where it says, all around the cathedral, the saints and apostles look down as she sells her wares. Although you can't see it, you know they are smiling each time someone shows that he cares. And that's the whole point of the song. Is it's not about, although you can't see it, it's not a big gesture. It just takes a small amount to help someone out and show kindness. And man, that music, especially the beginning and the end, where it swirls up into this like magical full sound. It's just so incredible.
So beautiful. Like it's like one of the most emotionally just, I don't know, it pulls at your heartstrings so much. I think I tear up every time I hear that song, especially just knowing how special it was to Walt.
Yeah.
That it was his favorite song. I think probably that they ever wrote.
Yeah. It's so emotional. And you guys have to go on YouTube, search Richard Sherman, Feed the Birds. And there's multiple videos of him playing that song. And, there's parts where he gets teary-eyed just thinking about Walt. And Walt and the Sherman Brothers relationship was just so special. Such a huge partnership. And so we highly suggest you look at those videos and you could just feel the heart that Richard Sherman put in these songs. It's just so amazing.
Wasn't it? I don't know if this is true or if I'm making this up in my head, but weren't they some of the last people that he saw before he passed?
I believe so. Yeah. I think it was, from what I remember, he said something like, keep up the good work, or sounds good, or something like that. And there's a video, I think, of Richard Sherman talking about the last time he saw Walt. I forgot what he was playing. He was playing a certain song, and then it was soon after that he passed.
Yeah. I think that's true. And that's just even more special. It just shows how, how tight their relationship was and how special they were to him.
Yeah.
Just, man.
Just moving. Yeah.
So moving. So we wanted to talk about one other song from Mary Poppins, and every song in the movie is a masterpiece, but one of the other ones that we love so much is Let's Go Fly a Kite, which is towards the end of the movie. And it's such a optimistic, fun, happy song, after this like roller coaster of emotions through that movie. That song just really brings about such it just wraps everything up so well. It's the moment when Mr. Banks, the father of the kids, really just realizes that his family is more important to him than his job. As throughout the movie, there's just, you just
ups
feel
and downs with the father. Yeah.
And you just feel like his job is always taking priority and everything. And it's just so sweet to see this big moment where he mends their kite and then they sing this song and go out to fly the kite together as a family. It's just so symbolic and so beautiful. And I absolutely love that scene so much.
Yeah.
And after doing some research, we actually discovered, or no, I guess it was
on The Boys. Yeah.
It was on The Boys. Yeah. So we were watching a little bit of that last night in prep for this episode. And it turns out that their father, Al, was actually a songwriter himself. But aside from that, flying kites together as a family was kind of their thing as well, which just gives even more meaning to that song. It's just really cool.
It's cool that they like looked back at their childhood and something, especially knowing that Robert and Richard didn't fully get along a lot of times as they were older, but they picked this thing that they like to do as a family. Like their dad actually made kites and flew them, and picking something from their childhood to bring it into a movie. And P.L. Travers did that with her story of Mary Poppins with Mr. Banks and her own father. I think Walt Disney had a lot of, he wanted the mustache because he tied a lot of things.
True.
And the Sherman Brothers tied that in with
like
their
they all got a little piece of themselves in that movie. I never thought about
amazing.
that.
I didn't until just now too, but
that's so cool.
And then you think about the music with that, this really redemptive moment and fly a kite. And you know how when you're flying a kite, it really goes up and down and it's, all, but and the even just the melody, like, dun, up to the highest. Like it's so bouncy and like waltzy, and it's almost like you're flying a kite. So just another reason why Richard Sherman is such a genius. But
oh my gosh,
love it. And like you said, that's why I laughed, because we could talk about Mary Poppins songs all night. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Chim Chim Cheree, which won them a Oscar and Academy Award. A Spoonful of Sugar.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, so much.
The list goes on.
That movie is just so perfect. But
we need to watch it. I'm like, I'm just itching to watch it. We watched Mary Poppins Returns recently, but
yeah.
I mean, that one's great, but like nothing compares to the original. We got to watch it soon.
It's so good. So next we want to talk about actually a park song that we love so much. There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow from the Carousel of Progress. This song is just so amazing. You put it on and there's like the 2-minute version, but then there's that longer version that you could find on, Spotify or Apple Music, but go to the longer version and you could just, that progression of, I keep saying the word swirling, but it's so true. Like he sets that mood with this huge, epic, emotional number at the beginning. And then it goes through so many different progressions of like moving to like really fun and upbeat. And then back down. It's a journey and it's so amazing. And another reason why we love this song so much is there's a video of Walt and the Sherman Brothers singing this song. And he says like, I forgot what he says, but he's like, that's just the right spirit. And they're all singing as they walk out the room and everything. And it's just really cool. And one thing that Richard Sherman actually said about this song was that in a way, this was Walt's theme because he was very positive about the future. And he really believed that there was a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away, shining at the end of every day. Sorry, I messed up those lyrics. But the music fits the lyrics so well. And it's such a positive outlook on life, just like they did with another park song that we'll talk about soon. But I think that's what we need a lot. Days could seem rough. Days could seem like, you're not where you're at or whatever, but just the whole, just a dream away, there's always a new day where you can start over. It's just so good.
I know. I feel like I used to kind of like sing this song to myself some days if there was like a hard day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's a great big beautiful tomorrow. Like every new day is fresh and a new start. So I just love the lyrics to this song.
Yeah, we actually knew the song before we even went on the attraction because we're over on Disneyland side. And, we would listen to it a lot and we didn't really know what it was from way back in the day. And then we couldn't wait to get on it when we were over in Magic Kingdom. It's just fits the ride so perfectly. Cannot beat that upbeat music. It's so great.
Yeah. And another song from an iconic attraction in the park is the Tiki Room.
Yeah.
Which will forever get stuck in your head every time you hear it. Yeah.
Adventureland is one of my favorite lands. And so just hearing that like beginning when it just, as the birds are waking up and chirping, that is like, and when you're on the attraction too, time to wake up the band. And then all of a sudden they all just chime in. It's just such a classic. And you can't, even though we don't go on the attraction all the time.
We did on our last trip.
We did, yeah.
For the first time in a while, and it was our son's first time going on it.
Yeah.
We had been telling him, okay, we're going to go on the Tiki Room. We're finally doing it. I love it. It's so special. It has been around for so long.
Yeah. I just remember seeing the videos of Walt with the animatronic birds. And that was such a big project for him. And just that he entrusted the Sherman Brothers to write that opening number for the Enchanted Tiki Room. And it just really sets the whole mood for the entire attraction. And there's not too much else to say than that. But that song is so Disney. You can't not think Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
And, not think of
it's a classic
of the Tiki Room. So good.
I love it.
Love it. And then another one we wanted to point out here too, Winnie the Pooh. I mean, you hear that beginning, and just like I've been saying, setting the mood. You are transported to the 100-Acre Wood. How he sets up scenes is just done so beautifully. Just like Mary Poppins. If you just watched Winnie the Pooh, that'd be great. But if you didn't have that music, think about the other songs too. The Wonderful Things About Tiggers, Rumbly Tumbly. All of those songs are just so perfect. And I just love hearing that chorus come in when you hear the music and then deep in the 100.
It's so good.
It's so sweet. It's just so charming. And he was just so good at taking a story, like we just talked about the Tiki Room, and really bringing out those like tiki, really fun vibes. But in Winnie the Pooh, bringing this like quaint English countryside, cutesy storybook feel to it. And Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow was huge, thinking about hope and optimism and all this stuff. He really crafted something so special with all these songs.
Yeah, he embodied the feeling of those movies, rides, whatever it was. It was always done perfectly to where you felt it. It was tangible, like I was saying earlier. And they would be so different without those songs.
Yeah.
So good.
It's so amazing. We have one more here, but we obviously we just want to talk about some other ones, Aristocats, Jungle Book. Actually, one thing I did find out is that the Sherman Brothers did not write The Bare Necessities. Disney had another composer on the movie, and I think it was either the music was too serious or it was following the Rudyard Kipling story too closely. And so they were like, we need to bring back in the Sherman Brothers for this. And they brought them back in. However, the one song that did fit for the movie was The Bare Necessities from the other composer. Mm-hmm. And so they kept that song, but still, even with songs like I Want to Be Like You, I love that they brought it into that whole, I don't know what you'd even call that, but like jazzy New Orleans
kind of, yeah,
thing. And then the way it picks up really fast, like so good.
Yeah, it was done so well.
Yeah. And then Sword in the Stone, I think that was their first animated movie they did for Walt Disney. But yeah, I think the pinnacle really was Mary Poppins. Mm-hmm. I mean, Mary Poppins is just so great. But yeah, the Aristocats has some great ones too. I love the first song at the beginning. Thomas O'Malley, who also is the voice of Baloo.
Yeah, that's right.
Such a fun style, like
so
following that 70s
too.
kind of style and everything. But yeah, so good. But yeah, like we said, Mary Poppins, the pinnacle, but also this last one is one of their greatest achievements too. And this one is definitely one that some people could just listen to and they're like, oh, I wrote that as a kid. I don't want to hear the song anymore. You guys know what we're talking about. It's A Small World. And he even says, yeah, like this one I do remember for sure. He was like, you either love it or you hate it, but it will be stuck in your head.
That's true.
And it is, I mean, it's one of the most iconic songs ever. Not just, like I said, when we posted that reel, we had people from all over the world commenting in their own language and everything. And this is probably one of the reasons why. One cool thing about this ride was that as they were workshopping this, Walt Disney originally wanted to play everyone's national anthem at the same time. Obviously not like at the same time, but transitioning throughout the ride. But apparently it sounded completely awful. And so Walt Disney went to the men that he trusted the most, the boys, Richard and Robert Sherman, and said, I want one song that can easily be translated into multiple different languages, and it needs to work as a round, because you're going through the ride and it just never seems like there's like a stopping point. Now you're on to the next language. And so they came up with It's a Small World, simple, yet so effective and so beautiful. And, there was actually like a war going on at this time. And so I think these lyrics just were perfect for that time, also perfect for now. And yes, you could write it off as like the kid ride song that always gets stuck in your head and you don't want it to be stuck in your head.
But it's so pertinent, for the world, no matter what decade you live in. It's always a good thing to keep in mind, like we're all just humans. We all need love and care. And I just think it's such a beautiful message in that song.
It's so great. And just, I know you're thinking about the little kids singing it on the ride, but if you just take those lyrics, it's a world of laughter, a world of tears. I love how they balance that out. It's a world of hope and it's a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world after all. And I love how they crafted those lyrics. So I guess shout out to Robert here too. But we all experience times of joy, times of sadness, times of hope, times of fear. And anyone in the world experiences that. And I love that it says it's time that we're aware that it's a small world after all. Like, can we just finally understand and look at people like people rather than we're against them? And so
that was
time we're aware. And this, 60s, I believe. So something as timeless as that, and it will carry on for generations to come. And, and I think that's really their, crowning moment of writing a song like that. And gosh, Sherman Brothers were something very special. Robert with his lyrics, Richard setting the tone. He might have done some lyrics too, but setting the tone with the music so perfectly.
The dream team of Disney music, honestly.
And that he's inspired so many other people to follow in those footsteps and compose music and everything. And so he's touched so many people's lives. And like I said, so many people's childhoods. We were just watching The Jungle Book with our son the other day. Now we're going to show him Mary Poppins for the first time soon. And then his kids are going to do the same. And their kids are going to do the same. It's going to be a part it's just so
They're
historic.
Timeless. Yeah.
They are timeless. And so we just needed to do an episode commemorating and remembering this wonderful man, Richard Sherman. Thank you so much for bringing the magic into so many people's lives.
Yeah.
It truly means so much. And I just love thinking of the fact that him and his brother and Walter together again, maybe singing Feed the Birds, their favorite song, and maybe even writing more music, it's just really something special. And it's just crazy thinking about all these Disney legends that, are getting older. And,
I know this one really hit me hard. It was so sad to hear of his passing the other day. Chris told me before I saw anything on social media, and I was just like, I had been dreading that day for a long time because I knew that he was getting older, and it was just, I knew it was imminent, but it's still just so hard to hear that such a legend is gone from this world.
And not just a beautiful mind, but a beautiful soul. Every time you saw him, he had like the biggest smile on his face. He just seemed like such an incredible guy. And we lost a great one.
He was an icon, a legend for sure. And his legend will live on for sure.
His legacy is here to stay for sure.
Every song that was ever written by him and his brother is cemented in our minds.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys so much for that. And we hope you enjoyed listening and just remembering this legend with us. We thank you for just your love for our show. It truly means so much. We saw a lot of new faces on our page recently, so that was really cool. Due to remembering him. We don't do that for likes or anything like that. We just love creating things and remembering the magic of Disney, and especially Richard Sherman. Yeah. And that just shows that so many people resonated with his music because so many people were sharing it and commenting on it, like I said, in multiple different languages all around the globe, because this man is truly special and touched so many people's lives. So so amazing. So thank you guys for following along. We will see you guys next week for another episode. We love you, and we will see you all then.
See you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.